Thank you very much, Chairman Alexander. I look forward to working with you and all of our colleagues in Congress. I want to welcome our new members on this committee, Senators Kane, Hassan, and Young, and thank you, Ms. DeVos, for joining us here today. And by the way, welcome to the rest of your family who I know has joined you as well. This is the first of many hearings that we will be holding on President-elect Trump's nominees to fill critical positions in the federal government. So I want to start by reiterating the importance of the Senate's role in this process and this committee's role in this Senate work. President Trump has the right to fill his cabinet with people he thinks will fill out the vision for our country. But that doesn't mean that the Senate should be a rubber stamp. To the contrary, we owe it to the people we represent to make sure every nominee is not only qualified for the position and free of conflicts of interest, but that he or she will put families and workers first, and not millionaires, billionaires, or big corporations. President-elect Trump was the first presidential candidate in decades to not release his tax returns, and he's openly flouting ethics conventions regarding his personal and family businesses. Now, some people say this means the bar has now been lowered for ethics in public service. I refuse to accept that, and I'm going to continue to hold the incoming administration to the highest ethical standards. This is what the American people deserve, regardless of who they voted for, where their tax dollars are going, and who is benefiting. I believe that in an administration where lines around potential conflicts of interest are very likely to be blurred at the top, they need to be even clearer at the individual agencies, even while we in Congress work to ensure the highest ethical standards are maintained and there is accountability to taxpayers from the top of the government all the way down. So I'm going to continue pushing for robust scrutiny of every one of these nominees, and I appreciate Ms. DeVos has said to me that she knows the importance of transparency and openness. She is committed to addressing every ethical concern and make sure that no corners are cut, and that she would go to great lengths to make sure no corners are cut. However, I am extremely disappointed that we are moving forward with this hearing before receiving the proper paperwork from the Office of Government Ethics. When President Obama entered the White House, Republicans insisted on having an ethics letter in hand before moving to a hearing. In fact, Leader McConnell wrote a letter to Leader Reid making that explicit demand: an ethics letter in hand with time to review and an FBI background check before a hearing was held. So I am extremely concerned, and I can only hope that cutting corners and rushing nominees through will not be the new norm. Now, we're here today to hear from President-elect Trump's nominee to lead the Department of Education. As a former preschool teacher and school board member, as well as a mom who got her start in politics fighting for public investments in early learning, I take this issue very seriously. I owe everything I have to strong public schools I was able to attend with my 6 brothers and sisters. And none of us in my family would have been able to go to college were it not for robust federal support. We had those opportunities because our government was committed to investing in us, but I know that's not the case for every student in every community today. So although we have a long way to go, I am absolutely committed to making sure that the federal government, schools, districts, and states, that every student has access to a high-quality public education that allows them to succeed, and that we focus our federal policies and investments on strengthening public schools for all students, and certainly not towards diverting taxpayer dollars to fund vouchers that don't work for unaccountable private schools. That is why I was so proud to work with Chairman Alexander and so many others here today to pass Every Student Succeeds Act, which gives flexibility to states and school districts, but also includes strong accountability for our schools and reiterates our nation's commitment to strengthening public education, especially for our most vulnerable students and communities. This commitment goes beyond K-12 too, of course, because the federal government in general and the Department of Education specifically has an important role to play in supporting, protecting, and investing in all of our students, from our youngest learners to those in higher education, and adults and parents seeking to improve their skills mid-career. So leading this agency is a big job. It is an important job, and I consider it to be my job to do everything I can to make sure whoever fills it is truly committed to putting students and families first. So, Ms. DeVos, I am looking forward to hearing your answers to some questions, since I have a number of very serious concerns that need to be addressed. First, I'm going to want to learn more about your extensive financial entanglements and potential conflicts of interest. As a billionaire with hundreds, if not thousands, of investments made through complex financial instruments, many of which are made in ways that are not transparent and very hard to track, you need to make it very clear how you will be avoiding conflicts of interest should you be confirmed. That goes for your investments as well as the massive web of investments made by your immediate family. Despite starting off on the wrong track by not having an ethics letter complete before this hearing today, I appreciate what you are doing to provide this committee the information to understand how you intend to live up to the highest level of ethics and transparency. So far, you have not accepted calls to release 3 years of tax returns, but I'm hoping you reconsider that approach and that you are cooperating fully with the Office of Government Ethics. Second, I have major concerns with how you spent your career and fortune fighting to privatize public education and gut investments in public schools. I'll have some specific questions about how the privatization policies you have pushed have impacted students and how you intend to use the public trust and taxpayer dollars to support public education and not continue to undermine schools and teachers from inside the department as you have as an advocate from the outside. I will want to know more about the large contributions you've made to groups that are ideologically opposed to workers, including teachers, and that want to impose anti-LGBT or anti-women's health beliefs on public schools and the students in them. I will want to make sure you publicly commit to implementing our Every Student Succeeds Act by upholding the strong federal guardrails that are in that law. And I will want to know how you plan to tackle the persistent achievement gap. Third, while you have been outspoken on K-12 issues, your record and positions are not clear in a number of critical areas. So I want to learn more about how you plan to approach higher education and whether or not we can count on you to stand with students and borrowers. I'm very interested in your thoughts on Title IX and how we can do everything possible to stop the scourge of campus sexual assault. I was not happy with how you talked about this issue when we met. I'm hopeful that you have learned more about it since then and are prepared to address it seriously. I'm going to want to know how your personal religious and ideological views on women's health and safety would impact how you'd approach this issue in the department. And I'm very concerned with what has been reported in the press about your views on the importance of the Office of Civil Rights, which works to ensure students with disabilities, LGBTQ students, religious minorities, women and girls, students of color, and all of our students are treated with dignity and respect. And I'm going to want to know more about how you will enforce critical civil rights laws. And as all of my colleagues here know, I have a particular passion for early learning. And I want to hear where you stand and how the federal government can help ensure that every child is prepared for success in kindergarten. Those are just a few of the issues, so I am looking forward to a robust dialogue tonight. I'm hoping you're transparent about your views, open about your record and the impact it has had on students, and willing to make some straightforward commitments regarding the core responsibilities of this department and the role you hope to take in it. I will be asking you to commit to providing this committee with additional information and responses to all reasonable follow-up questions as quickly as possible. I'm hopeful that this can be a smooth process, but Mr. Chairman, I know my members are all here tonight. They are hoping for more than just 5 minutes of question on this critical nominee, and I hope that as we get through this, you will consider doing that.
Well, thank you, Senator Murray. I'm going to follow the golden rule. I'm not going to change the rules and apply to Mrs.